How should the European Union support countries hosting refugees, especially Moldova, Romania and Poland?
Now the most urgent thing is to give all those who are fleeing this terrible war a home, a place to stay. And that's why the European Union must show assistance, especially financially, to the member states in the regions who are practically doing the job and helping the refugees. And what we also have to do is that all countries contribute. So we have frontline countries like Romania, like Poland as well, but others also have to contribute. So even countries like Ireland or Portugal, far away from Ukraine, want to show solidarity. It's a great effort that everybody opens his border, everybody is ready to welcome refugees, so let's stick together.
Are the funds already allocated by the European Commission sufficient for these countries?
The current funds on European level, especially for managing the migration crisis, are for the moment sufficient. We can help a lot, we can do a lot. But we have to see that we have to face the challenge that probably more people will still come. We speak about millions of Ukrainians who will probably leave their country, and having this dimension in mind, this challenge in mind, I think we need more money on European level. So on the middle and long term, we have to reallocate money on European level. So the budget is there, the money is there, but probably it's not directed in a good way. And that's why let's finalize the budget for the next upcoming month and year in a new approach. With a new approach, we need more money for managing the migration crisis.
In addition to this financial support, what other kind of support should be provided?
First of all, we have to understand that the Ukrainians are fighting our fight. They fight not only for their country, they are fighting for rule of law, for democracy, for freedom. People in Ukraine experienced what it means to elect your president, that you have the choice as a citizen, and not a dictator is in office like Vladimir Putin in Moscow. So that is what people experienced and what people want to defend. They don't want to give up anymore on the idea of democracy and freedom. And having this in mind, they fight our fight. That brings me to the answer of your question. When we see this, then we have to help them. Not only refugee management, but also delivery of weapons is important, of munition is important. To really support them in their fight for freedom and democracy. And additionally, we have to activate additional sanctions against Russia. We were already very strong. The first 3 packages of sanctions were tough, they're huge against Russia, but we have to do more.
Do you support the idea of allocating Ukrainian refugees in quotas at the level of the EU member states in each country?
For the moment, this is not needed. For the moment, we have on European level from all countries the will and the readiness to welcome Ukraine refugees. If we see an even bigger, amount of people who are fleeing from Ukraine, probably a kind of a distribution mechanism is needed. But for the moment, I don't see this. For the moment, let's open the border, let's be ready for welcoming them, and let's help them.
In what time frame do you see Ukraine's accession to the EU possible?
Well, President Zelensky was in the European Parliament connected 2 weeks ago, and he was asking them one question. He was asking us as Europeans, as representative of the European citizens in the Parliament, is it worth to fight for a strong Ukraine? Are we welcome? That was his question. And my answer and my contribution as leader of the biggest political family was, yes, you are welcome. You are fighting our fight. You are Europeans, no doubt about this. That's why the main message of today with a country in war like Ukraine is, you are welcome. That is our main message. And the rest is about procedures, about steps now. Nobody can really predict how quick this will go, but the main message is clear. You are welcome.
Would be having peace with his neighbors one of the conditions for Ukraine's accession to the EU? That is to end the war with Russia first?
Well, from the Copenhagen criteria, from the fundamental principles we have in mind when we speak about members, countries joining the European Union, this is one of the conditions. And let's see how the development will continue. We cannot allow that Russia is organizing a kind of a frozen conflict like they did already in Donbass and Luhansk, that they are blocking all initiatives from Ukraine to join the European Union. That can also not be in the hands of Russia. So they have no say towards the direction of an independent country like Ukraine. So let's be creative on these points. I want to give the Ukrainian people a clear message that they are welcome. That is our main message of today.
The European Commission announced yesterday its intention to lift sanctions on Hungary and Poland in the context of the war in Ukraine. How do you comment on this Commission's intention to stop sanctioning Poland and Hungary with cutting European funds for non-compliance with the rule of law?
Well, first I would say we are not sanctioning them. We are simply asking Romania, Poland and Hungary to respect our common understanding about rule of law, about implementing our common European way of life. And freedom of press and also rule of law and independent judiciary is fundamental for the European way of life. That is what the Ukrainians are fighting for, and that's why we should defend this also internally. I understand that we are currently in a very special situation. We have to assist, we have to do whatever we can do to help the Hungarian and also the Polish authorities to manage now the migration crisis in the border. And there is a huge demand to help. That's why Europe should be there, should be present, should help, should assist. But on the other hand, we cannot give up on the major principles behind. So let's do both. Let's help, let's give money, let's assist currently, but let's not forget about the fundamental basic values behind, and that is freedom of press and independence of judiciary.
Does this mean that if Romania deviates, for example, from the rule of law in the future, Romania will not risk a possible cut in funds either?
Well, we have implemented the rule of law mechanism in today's European legislation. That means that the expenditures of money is linked to the fundamental principles of rule of law. And thanks God, Romania has no problem for the moment on this. We are still in the observation process. There is still reforms needed in Romania, no doubt about this. But we also have reforms needed in Italy, for example, in other countries. So it's all over Europe a challenge that we fight for this. For the moment, there is no special problem.
But do you think that a dangerous precedent could be set right now with this decision to lift this, let's say, sanctions, not really sanctions, for Hungary and Poland?
I don't think so. I think we really have to do both. We are in an extraordinary situation. I think everybody will recognize this, will see this. And again, all those authorities who are helping currently on the ground to manage the migration crisis must get assistance and financial support from Europe, no doubt about this. Because currently the most important thing is to help people fleeing from war. Now that is the urgency of the day. But on the other hand, let's not give up on our basic ideas, on our fundamental principles. And you can be sure that the European Parliament and my party, the EPP party, we do our best to defend this. For my political family, I can tell you that in Poland, Platforma, so part of my political family, is fighting against PiS in the government, is fighting for rule of law and for a pro-European Poland there. So we are the party who is picking up the flag for a pro-European and the rule of law-based Europe in these countries. That's why my commitment is clear, but let's not play one thing against the other.
In Romania, the ruling Social Democratic Party insists on the need to amend the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. From your point of view, could the Recovery and Resilience Plan be renegotiated or not?
The European Union showed a big effort, gave a big signal of solidarity during the Corona crisis, that we managed together such a huge investment package. Imagine 750 billion euros, a lot of money. And for Romania, the share is 30 billion euros, so a lot of money is on the table. And this is part of the solidarity message from Europe. Together we overcome Corona and also now the war. That is the message behind. And on the other hand, I think the rest of Europe is asking everyone to show credibility. So solidarity is linked to credibility and also responsibility. That's why I think it's not the moment now to renegotiate any kind of plan. Now it's a moment to implement it, to do the necessary reforms also on national level. And there I see that the Prime Minister is ready to do so, the President is ready to do so. I hope that all governing parties are also ready to do so. So don't escape, I would say, to the socialists, don't escape from the promises Romania made. Please deliver on a future-oriented reform agenda for the country.
As far as you know, have there been any other EU countries that have requested this?
Well, to my knowledge, no, that's not the case. It's also formally not on the table. It's a domestic debate here in Romania going on. And again, having in mind that we speak about a real impressive approach of solidarity on European level, a lot of money which will help Romania to modernize, to go to a digital world, to a more CO2 carbon neutral world, which is more ecological, and it's quite modern there. So this money is there, and I really think that a lot of Romanian people will appreciate if the management, the implementation will now continue, and I count on Prime Minister and on the governing parties that they will do so.
The ruling coalition in Bucharest has abolished a special section for investigation of magistrates, something similar to the disciplinary chamber in Poland, and it has been replaced with another accountability mechanism for magistrates, but without waiting for the legal opinion of the Venice Commission. Do you think that the government should have waited for this legal opinion?
First of all, it's great that the Romanian government and the whole state is now delivering, because that was one of the requests from the European level to modernize and to do the necessary steps in this regard. And they did it. They did it also in the proposed and promised period of time. So that is why I like this very much. And the rest of the concrete assessment is then in the hand of the Commission. You know, for me, rule of law means that not a party politician comments about content. For me, rule of law means that an administration and finally a judge is doing the assessment about whether a law is good or not good. So that's why I give it fully in the hand of the administration on the European level and the judges on the European Court of Justice finally.
Okay, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you.